Welcome back, guys. I'm flying solo tonight. I have nobody joining me, but I do have big news to share, and that is that this podcast is now going to be presented by DAL Sports Nation, and I'm excited to be working with them. Um, Thankful and grateful to be working with them and um, providing content for them. And their main goal is to enhance your Dallas sports experience. So go ahead and check out their website and follow all their socials. It's going to be at DAL Sports Nation on Twitter, and then just DAL Sports Nation on Google, simple Google search, and you'll find our podcast along with some other um, great articles and blogs and podcasts as well. So once again, thank you guys, and let's jump right into what we got on the docket tonight. We obviously did that. We obviously got some quarterback turnover that's going to be happening in the free agency for NFL this year, and it's gonna look. We thought last offseason was weird, Cam Newton going to New England and stuff, but this is going to be probably the weirdest offseason for quarterbacks that uh, I have seen, and probably a lot of you guys watching have seen. But as you guys know, I'm a Cowboys fan. Most important on the docket, we got, and really the number one free agent per se, by a landslide, is Dak Prescott. And the big question you hear every day is Dak Prescott going to be a Cowboy next year? I am going to say the simple answer, there's no simple answer. Simple answer, yes. Now, will he be playing on a tag? That's hard to say, because if he plays on a second tag, that's going to be $37.1 million next year. That means he will have made roughly 69, 71 million over the last 2 years, which will be the most by any quarterback in the last 2 years. So I don't think he would say no to playing on the tag again, but I think that putting him on the tag again this year opens up the chance to lose him next, like the year after next. Because if he can see that he's making this much money here, who wouldn't want to at least test? Not saying he's going to leave, but at least test the open market. So that's not my favorite choice to do with Dak. Obviously, the sexier and what I think might be more likely decision is that we give him a nice 4 or 5 year deal. He wants 4, the Cowboys want 5. Let's settle at 4.5. Okay, guys, be gentlemen. But hopefully one of these sides can budge. I mean, it's been 19 months that these sides, both camps, have been trying to work something out. So as a Cowboys fan, he's the heartbeat of our team. He's a great guy on and off the field. You look at me, I'm repping his Mississippi State jersey. I love the dude. I would love for him to be a Cowboy and stay a Cowboy for life. But I think either way, there's no way he's not in a Cowboys uniform next year, at least. And also, what next is probably one of the biggest stories coming out of this offseason. And you guys might want to go back and check out our video on Jack Easterby and try and get caught up on some of the drama in Houston, because Deshaun Watson wants out. Today, he officially, there's reports that he has officially made one weeks ago, but today the Texans announced that they hired a new head coach, and that did not budge his decision. He formally requested a trade, and this is an interesting one because you see things that he might go to Miami. Well, Miami does hold the Texans' first-round pick, because that came in the was that Laramie Tunsil trade a couple years ago. So they have the 3rd overall pick. Something that I think is more realistic is the Jets. And why I say this is because the Jets, I think they're ready to move on from Sam Darnold. Let's just get that out of the way. The Dolphins are not going to move on from Tua. So the Jets are the most realistic idea for me, because they have the draft capital to be able to send it to the Texans and make it worth their while. They have the salary cap to be able to absorb that contract from Deshaun Watson, because he just signed a 4-year, $156 million deal last offseason. let's not forget they were coming off a divisional round exit where they probably felt decent about themselves because they're up 24-0 against the Chiefs and just completely blew that lead. But it's a different mindset going into this year, especially with the whole Jack Easterby stuff. But I see Deshaun Watson in a Jets uniform. I see it costing this year's first, this year's second, next year's first, next year's second, and Sam Darnold, and maybe a little more. Who knows what the Texans are going to be asking. And who knows if they're going to be willing to trade him in conference. I don't know. They probably don't want to see him in the AFC. They might send him to the NFC, and I'm crossing my fingers it's not to Washington. But a guy that might be a little more realistic to go to Washington is Matt Stafford. This is another guy I would really hate to see go to Washington because I think he's a good quarterback that was stuck in a bad situation for a lot of years. I mean, the Lions are kind of notorious for Barry Sanders left or didn't leave. He retired in his prime. Megatron, Calvin Johnson retired in his prime. And Matt Stafford, I mean, if he doesn't get traded, I've got to imagine he's probably going to look at retiring. Just all around an organization that has been bad for a long time. But not to drag down their organization or anything. It's just, I'm sure it's tough to be an NFL executive. Couldn't be me. But I see Matt Stafford. You see everywhere with Matt Stafford. You see the Colts. I can see him in a Colts uniform. You see Washington. You see, I've seen reports of 49ers, Broncos. Broncos are notorious for picking up old quarterbacks and paying them and then trading them. But honestly, I see Matt Stafford going to the Colts. I see it costing. I see reports that it's going to be a first. They're going to need a first, but I think that a second and a decent player will get the job done. A young guy will get the job done for that deal. So hopefully Matt Stafford can go to the Colts and win a couple games. You know what I mean? He's got this label as can't win big games, but dude, look at the teams he's been surrounded by. He had one great player on offense his whole time there. So I'm not gonna buy into the Matt Stafford sucks. Another guy who this is just interesting to me because Jared Goff. I mean, you look a couple years ago, the Rams are in the Super Bowl. They give him a mega contract, and he's not even the best quarterback to come out of the 2016 draft class. Dak is, you know what I mean? And the Rams GM is quoted as saying, we don't know the future for Jared, but we can't tell you that in this moment he's a Ram. And Sean McVay has said that there's going to be an open quarterback competition between Jared Goff, your $100 million man, and Jack Wolford, Vanilla Vic. I mean, this is just, I don't know. I don't see them getting rid of Jared Goff, but it's just an interesting thing to think about that how quickly both a player, if you look at Deshaun Watson, can turn on an organization, and both an organization can turn on a player, and the Rams turning on Jared Goff. So I don't know. I see him in a Rams uniform next year. I don't see him going anywhere, but we will see. Sam Darnold is next on my list. I see him getting traded to either the Texans for Deshaun Watson, or if Deshaun Watson doesn't get dealt to the Jets, then I can see the Broncos maybe making a push for Sam Darnold. That would be interesting to see. I think he's better than Drew Lock. I think he's in a bad situation. I would love for the Jets to say, hey, we're going to roll with Sam Darnold, and we're going to use the second pick on somebody, or we'll trade down and we'll get him a weapon, get Devontae Smith. But I don't see it. The Jets are not going to do that. They have too much shiny in their eyes right now. Ooh, Deshaun Watson. Ooh, Justin Fields or Zach Wilson. Not going to be able to help themselves. So I see Sam Darnold. If he gets dealt, it'll be to the Texans for Deshaun Watson, if Deshaun Watson goes there. But if he doesn't, I think Sam Darnold might be a Bronco. Mitch Trubisky. This is a guy that, honestly, I don't think he's that as terrible as he's made out to be, but I think he's constantly looked at as, oh, well, you were drafted the same year as Deshaun. Well, he was drafted ahead of them too. Let's not forget this. Ahead of Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. So you need to be better than them, if not as good as them. And he's just not. But if you look back a couple years ago, the Bears are in the thick of things, and if they're a double doink not happening away from possibly making a Super Bowl appearance, if not winning a Super Bowl. So I don't know. They didn't pick up his 5th-year option. Honestly, I think he's going to test the open market. I'm not sure where he lands though. This is a guy that could. He could. I mean, there's a couple teams that really need quarterbacks, and a couple teams that are bad about paying quarterbacks they shouldn't. So I could see the Broncos, like same as Sam Darnold. I can see the Broncos. I can see Washington being interested. I can see not the Colts really. It's really just endless. The 49ers definitely wouldn't. I don't see Trubisky going to the 49ers, but hey, maybe they roll the dice and say, hey, let's tag him. Let's give him a tag and see what he can do, because it's only $32 million. And this is the guy I just put on the list because I'm intrigued. I know him, Andy Dalton, came back, played for the Cowboys, and he didn't look his best, but he definitely looked serviceable at times. Almost brought us back into the playoff hunt. I mean, if we win one more game, we're in the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying we win anything in the playoffs. We have a home game against the Bucs and we get bounced. But I think Andy Dalton and a team like Washington could do some damage, because all they need is a guy that is not going to turn the ball over. I would love for Alex Smith to be able to be the guy, but I just don't think that his body can hold up how it needs to. So I think Andy Dalton or Matt Stafford in Washington is very, very intriguing to me. As a Cowboys fan, I hate it, but they're going to do something at quarterback. They need to, unless they want to roll with Trevor Heineke again, which I'd be perfectly fine with. Ryan Fitzpatrick, I wouldn't mind if he come be a backup for the Cowboys. I'll take you. Is Jimmy G going to be a 49er next year? I say yes. They already paid him. And the dude brought you to a Super Bowl. I don't get how people can just get rid of somebody like the Rams with Goff or Garoppolo with 49ers. Like, the dude just brought you to a Super Bowl last year for Garoppolo and 2 years ago for Goff. So I'd hold off on that. I don't think Cam Newton gets a chance to start again. I think he's going to have to look for a backup role. I don't know. Another interesting thing that could happen is if the Saints get in on this, if they don't want to roll the dice with Jameis. Who knows, man? Who knows? All I know is Dak Prescott will be a Cowboy next year. Can promise you guys that. And I also can promise you that once we hit 40 subscribers, I'm giving away a jersey. I'm trying to give away a jersey. We're at 23. We need 17 more. Let's do this, man. I'm trying to get y'all hooked up with this. Big Stars win tonight. Kind of getting off topic, but Stars 7-3 at home against the Red Wings. My boy Jake Ottinger got his first win, and also my dude Pavs another goal. His point streak stays alive. We're 4-0. But I appreciate y'all watching. Chris, if you're watching, let's get a hashtag 214 in here in the comments. And everybody at DL Sports Nation, I'm very, very blessed and very, very excited to get to work and start pumping out content for you guys. And I'm also thankful for the opportunity. And that's all I got for you guys tonight. So